How did it start?
It's a real mustard seed story.
I really blame it all on the Holy Spirit. For some reason, I said, I wonder what Catholic sisters are doing around this country with human trafficking. And I knew zilch about human trafficking.
Human trafficking is exploitation of persons against their will. And this needs to be taken off the face of the earth.
What I initially wanted to do, I think, was to establish a data bank.
Margaret religiously followed everything that sisters were doing that showed up in the news or that she heard, by word of mouth. Ann Schultz, a school sister of Notre Dame, worked at LCWR at the time as the Associate Director of Social Ministry.
I told her what I wanted to do. This was in December of 2011, and she said, I'll bring your idea up to the leaders of the LCWR. And they were very affirming.
In early 2013, I received an invitation to join a group of sisters at the White House. I called Ann to see if this was the real thing. And believe me, it was the real thing. It was the beginning of President Obama's second term, and they were revealing the anti-trafficking plan, and they thought it would be important to have sisters' voices to understand and critique the plan.
We were 15 women from 15 different women's religious communities. Came together, we started to think, to plan, collaborate, to talk.
Well, that first meeting, we tapped into the gifts of everybody around that table. It was truly a collaborative effort.
When we came back, Ann Victory and Kathleen Cole and I were the steering committee, but we had no money. Thank God for the people from Fatica, because they allowed us to continue to meet until we could get on some firm footing financially.
We helped one another. Certainly, I was educated, you might say, with Ann Schultz and Jean Chafin and others who came along.
We didn't exactly foresee ourselves becoming a formal organization, a nonprofit. And it became apparent that that's what would be needed to get funding through various grants and organizations.
We worked on a mission statement. Why are we here?
Our mission became very clear. We want to end slavery.
We wanted to become the public Catholic voice on human trafficking.
From that, we formed U.S. Catholic Sisters Against Human Trafficking.
Some people have difficulty understanding why Catholic sisters would be working in the field of human trafficking. And it goes back hundreds of years to their work walking with those who are vulnerable.
Virtually every community was founded to meet the needs of the time, and for a long time that was education and healthcare, and it's broader than that. It's where are the needs now? What are the needs today?
More than 125 women religious communities are members.
We are tremendously indebted to our foundress, our membership, and especially our donors, our legacy donors. Without those people and without those funds, we could not continue this work.
A lot of people are needed to address this monstrous crime. It's the second largest growing crime in the world, second only to drug trade.
What also occurred to me is the whole legal system that's growing up around labor trafficking. The big categories of human trafficking in the world today would include labor trafficking, sex trafficking, forced marriage, and organ trafficking. U.S. Catholic Sisters Against Human Trafficking focuses on three overarching issues: education, advocacy, and helping survivors access services. So it's really fundamentally about systemic change.
We want to get to a point where human trafficking just doesn't exist. Part of that is going out and working with people, talking to people at conferences, giving talks.
We work as a group to figure out what are the best resources that we need to put out. We organize a walk, about 200 people every year in January, with prayer, action, and advocacy. We publish a great deal of resources in Spanish. The resources give parents an opportunity to protect their kids.
Parents are struggling with knowing what to do. There's so many different ways that traffickers can get at their kids. Human trafficking is exploding on campuses. We really want to get in front of students. So Victoria, you are doing a module focused on human trafficking. Can you tell me a little bit about what you've learned?
I'm a student at the University of Notre Dame. I've been part of the Education Resource Working Group and the Advocacy Working Group. And I'm really excited to take the principles I've learned into my future career as a doctor.
Typically, we've looked at human trafficking from a legal or a justice system.
Yes, so I hope to also highlight the different effects that human trafficking has on the health of survivors.
We're very committed to providing access to survivor services. We formed a survivor advisory council, and the best anti-trafficking organizations are those that are survivor informed.
As a survivor and a member of the U.S. Sisters Against Trafficking Advisory Committee, it's important to make sure that the materials that the sisters are putting out are vetted by survivors and making sure that the message is inclusive to survivors of all different backgrounds.
It's pretty hard out there right now. I was invited by Sisters Against Trafficking to be involved in their survivor working groups.
Is it a relief to be off the street?
We drive around in our cars and we may pull up and say, "Hi, would you guys like a hygiene kit?" or whatever it is that we've been able to get to share on the streets. And we just start by building relationship. And we do that many, 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 many times sometimes before anyone will actually reach out to us.
Our members are very active at local, state, and federal levels.
We can take the voices of our people out in the streets to the levels to where policy is made and where people can really possibly do something to help.
The Sisters' advocacy has made a big difference for decades.
Advocacy really tries to get at the systemic causes to reduce the demand. Who are the predators? How are they punished?
There's a great body of law to address trafficking.
It's actually, there's more labor trafficking in the world than sex trafficking in the world.
Undocumented migrant children is one example. Farm workers is another example. It's generally more women. But there are a lot of men and boys who are also trafficked.
We were aware of an international group banding together, just as we were in the U.S. The group called themselves Talitha Kum, and we joined in 2014.
Talitha Kum is a network of networks, and it's based in Rome and is run by sisters. They're very good at talking across culture and across languages.
Talitha Kum comes from the Gospel of Mark, where Jesus saves a little girl who they thought was dead, and he went to her and he said, "Little girl, get up." Pope Francis is very supportive of work against trafficking. He told us that Talitha Kum was an example for the way the church should be working together to address the needs of people.
Everyone has a role to play in ending human trafficking.
We knew we couldn't do this alone. We needed people to work with us.
What can we do to plant seeds that will grow far beyond us and have an impact?
The laity have come to us and said, "We want to be part of this." And we have changed our structure to include lay people on the board.
We have lay people who are absolutely competent, interested, smart. They bring skills we don't have. We're going to sustain ourselves. That's important.
I'm part of the first cohort of lay board members, and it's great that more are coming on.
You don't have to be Catholic. You don't have to be a nun. You don't have to be really anything except interested in ending human trafficking.
For a number of years, we talked about, should we change our name to make it more inclusive, more inviting, but we didn't want to lose our history.
The new name is Alliance to End Human Trafficking.
We truly are an alliance of individuals, of organizations, of more than 100 congregations of women religious, and that continues to grow and flourish.
I don't know that we expected to be who we are today. You want to talk about a motley little crew of people. 15 women religious who said, okay, let's see what we can do. And look what we did. It's amazing.
Congratulations to all of us, and look forward to the next 10 years. Just keep up your good work and widen the circle.
After 10 years, you all are still going strong. You're doing excellent work. Here's to many more years of success.
Happy anniversary to all of my colleagues and all of our members for the wonderful work that we've been able to do together. Let's keep going.
Congratulations for 10 years of amazing work, for a wonderful legacy and a future that is bright.
10 years ago, who could have imagined this? Thanks be to God. We're just getting started.